Hello everybody. Been a long time, hasn't it? Been a few changes as life gets in the way sometimes. But I am now in Arizona versus Florida. A lot of events happened. Basically started with a renovation of the building I was in Miami Beach, as there's lots of renovations and dollars being thrown about or whatever because of the condo collapse about 2 years ago. But long story short, my floor in the apartment I was renting was basically tunneled through from the bottom from the unit downstairs. So I had a big hole in my floor, which basically, when things led to things, I had an order to vacate within 30 days. And as they say, when a door closes, another door opens. And I had a friend who needed help in Arizona because her mother passed away and needed the house straightened out. So I did that and found a new place to live. Probably close to 30 times in my life I've moved. Not sometimes locally or what have you, but I've become quite an expert at it. Basically, it's the essentials, selling what you can't move with, or let's say pack into 2 duffel bags, and then just buying everything once you get there. It's pretty easy and simple once you get it down to a practice. But anyway, that's why I've been gone for so long. I started to photograph here, and the drier air does make a big difference in clarity, when you're taking a picture, especially when you're doing telephoto work. Not as much humidity or moisture in the air, so therefore it's going to be a little clearer. And you might notice I'm jumping around with the video because I'm holding it with my right hand, as I didn't take my tripod with me or various other things of that size or nature. We'll see how it works out. I'm sure it'll be okay. Still have my Sony RX10 Mark IV. Of course, I follow the new cameras coming out, the new lenses, and it's such a pleasure just to have this one camera that does it all. Now, I did have a Hasselblad X2D that I bought used and tried out for a while. It does make you feel a little special, okay? Hey, got the Rolls Royce of cameras. What I call the Rolls Royce of cameras anyway. Yeah, it was fun. So basically just sold it on eBay. But the limitations of that camera versus the Sony RX10 Mark IV, so dramatic. Of course, you do have benefits on the X2D, which is 100 megapixels. You can crop in ridiculously small and still have, excellent sharpness and all that sort of thing. The Pixel Peepers, I guess, top 1 camera to have. I lost a little money on it, but it was fun to have and experiment with for a couple months. But again, for those who haven't got the Sony RX10 Mark IV, you're still missing a great camera, and you don't have to buy anything else, really. Especially if you're into sports or wildlife photography. Wide angle lens, 24 all the way to 600, built in, 24 frames per second. I can't say anymore. It's just fantastic. And I'll be adding some pictures in here so you can see some of the pictures I've shot here and in the Phoenix area. But just loving the dry air. Not going to miss the humidity. No, sir. Not at all. And they say, oh, you lived in Miami Beach. I go yeah, I lived in Miami Beach. Probably, off and on, 8 to 10 years. Probably count the number of times that I've been in the water as far as the beach. This many times. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the pictures, and I'll probably have a few videos in here as well, just so you can see the, I guess, the utility of the Sony RX10 Mark IV. And it's still not discounted, okay? What has it been now, 5, 6 years? Maybe even longer? It just tells you something. Anyway, nice to see you again. I almost forgot to mention, one way if you want to see more of my photographs, and also to help me out if you want to purchase some of my frame prints, is to go to jswilsonphotography.com. And that'll help out the bottom line a little bit, but I do appreciate it if even if you go just check it out. So jswilsonphotography.com. Thank you very much. By the way, if I look a little different, because I worked so hard in that house renovation, I lost 30 pounds. No drugs, just eating right and working a lot.